Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian. And joining me, as always, is your co-host, Jim.
Wasn't me, I didn't do it.
And your co-host, Hunter. Uh-oh. Did we lose Hunter?
I think he went back to Ohio.
Did you guys lose me?
My gosh, my microphone. I was just saying 31 gigs out of 91 gigs. I'm still going.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What the hell did we preload, dude?
No, nothing.
I have no idea. I
preloaded.
preloaded this thing on, like, what was it? Friday of like a month ago.
It was 500 megs or whatever. It was 500 megabytes that you preloaded, and then you have to.
They need to turn on like peer-to-peer downloading with this thing. Like, just torrent this. Like, give it to me now.
It took me 3 hours to download it yesterday. So we're talking about the
meanwhile, I had to mute the damn music because after a little while it starts going from, oh, this is nice, to, okay, I've had enough of this.
Like you're on hold for 3 hours. That was just a quick side note. Microsoft, as we're recording this, Microsoft Flight Simulator came out today. And so everyone in the world is downloading it, which means no one's downloading it quickly.
Yes. Did you see the screenshot of how many people are in the sky over Tokyo right now?
No. How many people are in the sky?
Yeah, stuck in the admin chat. Dude, there is like 100 jets and planes and stuff.
That's hilarious.
It's just like a cloud of gnats over Tokyo.
Thankfully, you could turn that off if you want. You can turn that multiplayer nonsense off. Friends, Spaz isn't here. God damn it. How appropriate that came up.
But Gul Dukat is.
Gul Dukat is joining us. No, here in California, we are undergoing what's called a flex alert, which is a fancy word for rolling blackouts. And so because everyone's got their air conditioning on, who has air conditioning, which I'm not, everyone's who got their air conditioning on during this heat wave, it's pushing the state's power levels to the brink, and so they're doing rolling blackouts, so not everyone goes out. And so Spaz is like, well, I might not be able to make it. And so, yeah, he's not here, sadly. But we do have a guest. It doesn't make up for Spaz, but we do have a guest joining us. It's past midnight now in England, which thank you again, Dan, for joining us in England. Dan Woods, the sole indie developer of the game we're going to talk about tonight, Absolute Territory. Welcome, Dan, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Great to be here.
Yeah, we didn't have guests for a while because we thought this wouldn't last very long, or at least I thought this wouldn't last very long. And I'm like, let's just people just focus on like their lives and their families, and we'll get back to it once this is all over. And yeah.
Here to stay for a little while.
Yeah, for a bit.
Come the end of 2020, it'll all go and disappear. It'll be a new year.
Nice. That'd be nice. Probably not.
No.
But anyway, so folks, if you're unaware, Absolute Territory is a first-person cockpit space shooter, along the lines of, your free spaces, your wing commanders. That's built on Unity, and it is coming out on September 1st, so 2 weeks from now, I think?
Yes, exactly. 14 days.
2 weeks from today. How you feeling? How you doing?
Oh, yeah, I feel great. Not stressed at all, and my hair isn't going any grayer than it already is. I'm perfectly fine and sane.
Tell me, I know all about gray hair. So when did you start working on this? What was the beginning of this particular journey? What basically inspired you to start creating your own cockpit fighter game?
Well, that's a few questions rolled into one there.
First
of all, it's first person and third person. If you hit the F1 key, you'll get third person view.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I knew that.
But don't worry about that. No, I love cockpits, and it started off as first person, but I added third person because I thought, well, people like Freelancer. So where does it start? It starts back when I was 18 years old and got Blitz Basic. And I started making 2D games, and I was making pretty much what this would have been in 2D.
Nice.
But it never got anywhere. And then many years later, I start picking up Unity after, just before Unity version 3.0 dropped out, which is something like 8 years, maybe 10 years ago. And rather than, learn gradually, I thought, I want to make a space game. So I started what is now Absolute Territory back then, doing it the hard route, making one massive project where everyone would ever tell you is make stuff small. So yeah, here we are. But going to why did I do it is, well, I love Wing Commander and those sorts of games. And when I started this, there was a massive drought of any space games out there, or space games made by indies weren't really good quality, and we're missing features that I would have enjoyed in Wing Commander, or would improve the experience. And then Star Citizen came along.
Well, it really didn't. I mean, it did.
Well, sorry. And then Star Citizen got advertised, and we're still waiting for Star Citizen, which is great. And one thing of Star Citizen that I've learned from is it's not a good idea to have transitions where you're walking around to get from your ship to go to your bunk and wherever else, because it looks extremely boring. So this is how I've managed to get this far. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be getting very far, because I wanted to recreate like Wing Commander, but have a walk around like the Tiger's Claw and stuff like that, and have that. But being a one-man indie dev, that I've slowly realised that it's going to take longer than I thought.
Well, I think the great thing about the indie explosion, and there are a lot of impatient people out there, but I think one great thing about the indie explosion that we've had over the last pretty much decade is that a lot of more gamers have got to see how the sausage is made. And I think that's made a lot more gamers a lot more tolerant of, games that only have text briefings or things like that. Because voice actors take a lot of work. Look at Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. Half the voices in that game are one guy. I mean, he's a great guy. He does a good job, but I mean, personally, sometimes I'd rather have text over crappy voice acting.
And you can get the opposite, can't you? Where you've got Starpoint Gemini, that voice acting. I don't know how it is in the latest one, but it's been some atrocious voice acting, and they are quite small studio, aren't they? They're indies, and that would be the quality I'd be getting. But then you get stuff which is all right. I mean, with Hypergate, voice acting's not bad there.
Yeah,
I think Spaz did some voice acting for that as well.
I'm not sure, but Hypergate I was going to bring up Hypergate because it's kind of amazing. We've kind of had an explosion of indie space games as well, but there have not been that many fighter games like yours, or Hypergate, or House of a Dying Sun, or there aren't that many
squadrons.
Well, yes, but I'm talking more in the indie space. There haven't been many, because I'm sure it's a this is one thing I do want to talk about on a podcast one day, is 2D versus 3D. And so many more games are in 2D, probably because it's easier to do. But
I guess Evercron, did you say that one?
No, Evercron, that's a good one. Oh God, I can't believe I forgot Evercron. He's been doing these things for 20 years, that guy. More than 20 years. Dear Lord. Making I'm going to stick with first person, even though you have a third person.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say it started off literally first person. I threw in third person quite well just last year, and it shows because you stuck to just the front view. You can't change look left, right, and rear like you can in the cockpit at the minute. But it was meant to be first person cockpit, and that's why you've got the cockpit panels in there. But I had to do away with the panels looking like the fitting in the cockpit due to time constraints.
I actually, well, one, I wanted to say the way you have it works very well. I'm more a fan of the more cockpitless kind of free space to floating HUD. I mean, yeah, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw and stuff is great, but I love more the floating HUD of your game and free space and whatnot. So you kind of a nice middle ground where you have like an illusion of a cockpit because you can kind of see its physical presence. But
Well, that was due to the model assets that I've bought because they're from the Unity store. This is not an asset flip, I promise you. And this model in particular didn't have any cockpits, but the other one you were playing when you was in the waves mode, that was a later asset pack made by the people who did this one, and they added cockpits. So that was awesome, and I just threw them in there and kit bashed some stuff together. But yeah, interesting. You say you prefer the free space view because, to be honest, that's easy enough to do. I'll just put the camera further forward out of the nose so you don't see any of the ship. So that might be a feature worth adding.
oh, okay, that'd be cool. But no, what I was saying is the way you have it now is kind of a middle ground between you have the floating HUD, but you also have a physical representation of the cockpit. But I didn't think like the cockpit got in the way. Like you play some old space sims and you're like, how did I hit anything? Because 2/3 of the screen is cockpit. You know, how did I bloody hit? I'm looking at you, Privateer. Goddamn Tarsus.
There's a reason for that, though, wasn't there?
I know. Oh, I get it. It was just going back to that now. It's like, what was I thinking? But
Yeah.
no, what I was going to get at is, do you think making a 3D game like this is a bigger challenge than making like a top-down 2D game? And did it present you with
both
Okay, go
have
ahead,
their
sorry.
own challenges? But go on, finish your question.
No, I was going to ask, did making a 3D game like this present you with any challenges that you think you might not have run into with a 2D game?
Right. So, given that I've effectively made a 2D and a 3D, they've got their own challenges, and it also really depends on like the engine or the game development engine you're going to use. So like, I was using Blitz Basic. I did use Blitz Basic 2D, Blitz Basic Max, Blitz Basic 3D, all for 2D though. And they have their inherent challenges and just how it works. The biggest problem with 2D was the rotation of sprites back then with the engine, but technology's come way far there. I had to pre-render all the sprites, and I had one big launch carrier, and it took like 60 seconds to pre-render to rotate it. So then I had to use like sprite atlases to put it all in there and stuff like that. But the main thing was learning as you go along. So I started programming when I was 15. And then started that game when I was 18, very inexperienced, etc. Never done game development as a job, only just done software development. It's a total different reality of making something towards software and a video game with just so many things that are different. But with 3D, getting your head around the 3D math of things. In 2D, it was fairly easy to know how to turn and face a target, but in this one, in 3D, it was more complicated, especially with what Unity called quaternions. I might have botched that, which is a totally different sort of rotation in 3D space to just using angles. That has given me a lot of headache. But what this game really gave me a headache with, and what I really wanted, because I loved how IWAR did it, is actual physics. And your acceleration and your ship correcting itself is all through forces using Unity's physics. engine, and even rotating your ship, so and rolling it is done by physics as well. And that took me an extraordinary amount of time to figure out and how to do it right.
Man.
Ridiculous. Partly because with how Unity does rotation is not how physics work in real life.
Oh, really?
But when because I was reading like Udemy or Khan Academy, trying to understand physics and how it works, and then trying to apply it to the game, and it was like the output's coming out something completely different and not meeting reality, and it's like, really?
Well, do you have the camera like attached to the ship as a stationary object, and then you move the world around it, or are you actually flying the camera through the level?
The camera is attached to the ship. The ship is pretty much stationary because of I forget what it's called now. But do you know when you travel a vast distance and then things start shaking, especially more noticeable the HUD?
Yeah.
In a video game, to counteract that.
Yeah, because you get like floating point error.
Yeah,
if you
that's exactly it. I forget what it's called on it. I mean, if I look at the some kit, I'll be able to tell you what the name is. But basically, your ship will move for a single frame. Then I pull it back to center, and then all the other game objects are attached, like the ships, etc., are attached to a parent game object, and I'm just moving that parent game object everywhere. And from my testing, I can move way beyond what I normally could without any HUD shaking or even any of the units shaking, apparently. But then I obviously right next to it, so I wouldn't know what would happen if it was trillions of miles away from two ships that are together, and they probably just do all sorts of wacky stuff. But I'm that far away, I'd never see it. And given that the game is pretty much self-contained and not meant to be like a vast open universe, it's like instant-based missions like Wing Commander. You fly to one nav point, you deal with whatever's there, and then you fly to the next one, etc. I've pretty much avoided that issue altogether.
Well, I have to say, kind of a side note, I've never really heard of Blitz Basic until today, and apparently some very famous games were made on it, like Worms, apparently.
Was Worms made it? Oh, Worms would have been made on Blitz Basic, but on the Amiga Blitz Basic.
Oh, I see.
It was the original Worms, the very first Worms, because Blitz Basic got its origins on the Amiga, which I never knew. And then the guy who made Blitz Basic, I think he made a PC version, which was back in the late mid-90s. He developed it on there. I think that was right.
And the first two Echelon games, those role-playing games, they were also on Blitz Basic. So, some fairly big games.
Yeah. And there was some claymation games on there, and
apparently
a knockoff of Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, apparently it is
really
now
good games.
Yeah, apparently it is now morphed into a thing called Monkey. Apparently.
Yes, I've noticed that, but I've not done anything with that because I ended up going to Unity, and I don't know where it is, but when he brought Monkey out, it seems to be a lot more limited in scope than where he got with Blitz Basic. So I don't understand why he switched to that. I don't understand the history of it, but yeah. There's lots of video game development tools out there, and they all do different, unique things, and they've all got their own different plans for the future. I think like there's Godot or Godot. That's an up and comer, I think.
Godot
as a rival, yeah. Godot. That's a new game engine that's been out for a while, and there's lots of it. I mean, so many tools.
It's kind of wonderful.
You can just make your own engine.
I'll tell you one thing. We've learned on this podcast is about all these engines I had never heard of before, or like games being built on things you wouldn't think a game would be built on, like Java. You know, like, what? You built your game on Java? I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you can build a game in Excel.
I have heard that there is like an Easter egg in Excel. It's like a role-playing game or something in Excel.
Yeah, you can totally program. You can freaking program in Excel, which is weird. Apparently, I was doing some deep diving on this. Apparently, you can program in PowerPoint as well.
What? Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, I saw a Doom made in Excel once, and that was enough for me.
Doom? Really?
Yep. Yeah, like original Doom. Yeah. It doesn't play the same, but it's there.
That's still that someone went to the time and trouble to do that. That's why the internet is so amazing, because people make stuff like that.
I'm going to question it. They've gone into that much effort to do that. Why don't they just make a proper game?
Well, don't let it
just to prove it could be done.
I was about to say it's kind of like the Jeff Goldblum quote from Jurassic Park. People were too busy trying to figure out if they could. They didn't stop to figure out if they should.
Oh, I was thinking of the Captain Kirk quote from Star Trek V. Why are you climbing that mountain? Because it's there.
Right. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's hopefully the only time we'll ever bring up Star Trek V on this podcast. But back to Absolute Territory. So right now the game has basically two modes. You have a wave mode and a campaign. I only played the first mission of the campaign just to record the video. I didn't want to spoil myself. But how big is the campaign, out of sheer curiosity?
Well, the campaign, we've got 21 missions in total. They don't include the 4 tutorial missions that are there, but they are skippable, so you're not forced to go through and repeat the tutorial missions if you don't want to do them. But yeah, 21 missions, and when I ran through it, I'm going to estimate between at least 4 to 6 hours of gameplay based on that. Depends on your skill level.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it took me 4 hours, and I played it on hard, so...
And you made the game, so...
Yeah. I spent thousands of hours playing it, so, hopefully people have a lot longer out of it.
but that's fine. I mean...
Well, I was about to say, I was just looking at the Steam page right now where I can see my friends currently playing this game. Looks like out of all my friends, you've got the most time in there. You got 77 hours in this thing. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Only 77? I think you need to add a couple of zeros in there, and then a few more hundred. 1,228 hours. Yeah, that doesn't actually, offer the true amount of time spent in this, since this only got added to the store. About a year ago.
I think some people might balk at like 4 to 6 hours or 6 to 8 hours, but like if you think about it, there are a lot of great games that give you that much time or even less, and it's still a better value than going to a movie. Yeah. I mean, so many people are like, I want these games with hundreds of hours. Well, I mean, there are games that'll give you that. There's nothing wrong with a well-written, contained experience.
And you end up with the cancer of game padding, where it's like, oh, now you have to grind for 100 hours for no reason.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, I appreciate games like yours and Hypergate and whatnot, where it's like a very focused experience, and then like, okay, I'll go. It's like a good movie. Like, oh, I don't remember it so well in a year. I'll go back and play it again.
Yeah. I did consider padding this out.
I'm glad you didn't.
Like when you played the free space missions, and you're like, let's go and attack this cruiser who's a bad guy and defecting, and we'll stick you 10,000 meters away from him, and you spend 2 minutes flying to him for it to jump out.
Sir, that was an important story mission, sir. Sir, that was a very important set. That was a very important story set piece, sir. Sir, that was a very important set piece of the story, sir. That was necessary to. That was not filler, sir. I disagree.
Oh my gosh!
And then the escort missions as well. Yeah, let's go escort these ships that will explode as soon as
I will agree with you on that. I will agree with you on that. Now I'm sure.
And they'll slowly trundle over to the jump gate.
There was
I
one
lost
game.
The
because a
enemies
TIE
out
fighter.
far
I
away,
lost.
everywhere.
I lost because a TIE fighter came over and coughed on it.
There was
You're
one
supposed
game.
to protect the cargo, but the cargo got destroyed. But the transport ship made it.
I wish there was some teleporting cruise missiles in this, like in Wing Commander. Yeah.
Skip a
I
missile.
hated.
God damn
God,
those things.
Oh God.
What do you not know the trick to defeating the skipper missile?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
Kill the guy who launched it. Make sure all the enemies are dead, and just autopilot out of there. And you don't have to worry about the skipper missile.
I don't remember. Those games, as much as I love the Wing Commander games,
brilliant.
they don't hold up.
Yeah.
They don't like at all.
No, you got to have your rose tinted glasses on there. But I still love playing the original Wing Commander. That is my favourite out of them all, just because of the amount of time I spent on it. And it was like literally the first space combat game I ever played.
I do love loading up the first. Sorry, I do love loading up the first and second Wing Commander every now and again, mostly for the music. The music is such a comfort to me in those first couple of in those first two Wing Commander games. Like in the other Wing Commander games, the music kind of took a back seat, but in the first two games, it was such a thing.
I think they went more orchestral, didn't they, in 3 and 4?
And it was also lost much more background.
The dynamic music, which just absolutely made the first two games and Privateer awesome because it's there, and that's what 100%. I'm trying to do in this. It's just very, very, very fledging. But you'll notice the music when there's no enemies. You've got this nice, calming, relaxing. Yes. And then enemies appear, and then you've got the combat track. So that's just the start of it. We'll see how I can develop that. I'd like it to be more like Wing Commander.
But I will say there was one game that had escort missions. It was called Eterium, I think. It was kind of an anime-ish first-person shooter. It came out like 5 years ago, I think. That I think is the only game I've seen where the ships you're escorting can actually defend themselves. They actually have guns and can shoot back and will do so. It's like, why have other people done this? Like, you have this huge fucking ship. Excuse my language. You have this huge fucking ship. You can't put one gun on it? Or two? God damn it. Like, I love TIE Fighters so much, but there are so many times I would scream at that fucking game because it was like, you're a giant freighter. You have space for a gun. Put a gun on that damn thing. Anyway.
The developers must have not noticed the big guns you see on the films, or they've decided to add the guns to these ships in the films afterwards. Because every ship I seem to see in the films always got guns attached to the front of it, even the freighters.
Right?
It's like, is this a combat freighter? Because they're just attached to the front, and it's like, why has it got no turrets?
I'm not sure where the escort trope even came from.
Armored school bus.
Right. I'm not even sure where the escort trope came from, because Wing Commander had it. But I can't remember before Wing Commander if there was an escort trope. Elite didn't have escorts, so I don't know. I don't know where the escort trope came from, but it's horrible and I hate it. I
do not like escorts, but I needed to pad out a few more missions.
Wait, do you have escort missions in your game?
Yeah, they're there. You gotta have it. It's a trope.
You know what I was gonna say? Any space game like this worth its salt has to have at least one. So we've come to expect it now. We've come to be like,
pleased to know there are defended with their own turrets. They've got flak turrets.
Thank freaking God.
They can take down a light fighter or two.
Oh, good.
And they'll help you. So they're not defenseless.
That's good to know.
And they can take a bit of a beating.
That's good to know because, it's so frustrating when you're like when you're escorting a thing and it's like boom, boom, oh, it's dead. What the? It was bigger than me. How did it not have armor? What? God damn it! So
it was a blimp in space. You see, it was full of.
I will tell you a funny thing.
Highly explosive.
I will tell you a funny thing. A little side note. We Hunter and I were playing Star Lancer the other day. We've been testing out this virtual land thing we found, and we were playing the campaign, and this science ship jumps in, and it's a fairly big ship, and
I forgot about this.
and before I even think about it, I'm like, okay, it's an enemy ship. It has to die. It made a wormhole out of nothing. And so I kill it. It takes like 3 shots to kill it. It must have been made of freaking balsa wood. And next thing I know, it's like, oh yeah, we need you to not destroy that ship. Like, oh.
Then the guy comes on. I wanted you to take out its engines, not blow it up.
Yeah, I got yelled at big time in that game.
And then we failed the game. And then we failed the mission.
Totally failed.
Oh,
totally failed. It was great. It was freaking great. But again, it's a big ship. It shouldn't it shouldn't go down in like 4 shots, but that thing did.
Yeah.
It was made of freaking poster tube.
Civilian ship, they don't have armor, steel plates on there.
I guess.
It's like shooting the space shuttle with a handgun. That'll explode.
I never thought of it, but yeah, I guess if you shot the space shuttle with a handgun, that would really be a bad time.
Yeah.
That'd be a really bad time. So you have escort missions, and I know you have at least one patrol mission. What are some of the other types of missions you got?
It only comes down really to a patrol, escort, like an assault strike missions. But what I try to do to add variety is to every single mission you fly, something's different there, whether that you're encountering a new ship or there's an event sort of, something unexpected happening, going on there. Just to try and add a bit of variety, which is just something I remember Blizzard doing with StarCraft 2, where each mission had something new added to it. So I tried to do that, and I won't float it great height. It's it's not massively like eye-popping sort of stuff what you'd expect Blizzard to do. It just adds a little bit of variety to
again, you're one guy working on this.
Not to get boring.
Yeah, you're one guy working on this. I think a lot of gamers are very understanding the difference between Blizzard and you. So
I would hope so.
Yeah, a lot are. Gamers get a bad rap, but you look at Steam forums, and there are a lot of very understanding gamers, So
yeah, I've had some good feedback. I did a little bit of promotion posting on Reddit, and I think it was one of the PC gaming ones where a lot of people were quite supportive and just asking questions and just showing the support in there, and I thought that was great. And then I posted on a few other just gaming forums, about 8, and only one of them people have replied into it, and it started off all right, and then sort of went a bit downhill from there.
Well, that sucks to hear.
So you've got detractors and you've got attractors and communities, and one of the things is when you're promoting is that website I posted to and maybe got away being able to post it. It's like I had an account from there from like 4 years ago, and I posted like a little bit of a time there and then nothing. So a little bit more amenable to some random person coming up and promoting his video game.
Have you played the old iMagic game? It's Space Rangers, Star Rangers. It's one
Star
of the
Rangers.
Star Rangers.
No, not fully, but I'm aware of it. I saw Brian playing it, and we've actually had a little chat in text about it last year, and I've got your notes on Star Rangers, and that's something I'm.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did give you an ear beating about that last time you were here.
Because to be honest, the reason why this hasn't been released is because of that little chat. Because I thought, what can I do to make my game stand out from anything else out of there? And I decided, well, in order to do what you're suggesting and maybe even throw a campaign in there, I need the tools to be able to do that. And the big tool that I could do is a level editor. And this is the inklings, the birthing towards reaching that goal, where I'm now got this level editor where I've created every single mission of the campaign in it, and I can now start expanding on it towards maybe even, having a sort of little mini sandbox universe like Star Rangers does. And
that'd be great.
Have something like that, because I like what Star Rangers there. I need to play it. I've got it from Exodus now, so I can actually play it quite easily. I just need to finish this game, and then I'll spend some time playing some other games out there and deciding.
Well, see, that can be game number 2, because you can reuse these assets, get another run out of them, make Star Rangers 2.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, Star Rangers runs out of the box flawlessly on DOSBox. You don't have to tweak it or anything. It just goes. So when you feel you have the time, it's definitely something worth playing.
Yeah, the thing I love about it is that it's an arcade style Wing Commander game, right? So it's like you're doing the stuff like you're doing in this game, but it's like it's increasing difficulty to the point where you lose, right? It's kind of a wave based thing, but it's also like a resource management kind of deal. So it's more than just like, hey, we're gonna throw harder stuff, don't get killed, but you can lose because you like ran out of time, not necessarily ran out of
fuel.
Yeah,
have to limp back to base. Which, to be honest, in these days of that sort of mechanic, I probably don't think many people like that anymore.
I don't know.
Having to slowly travel back home, because it's like, I don't know, it depends on the people. I mean, like the X Games, until you got Satan, you had to slowly fly from.
I mean, you could be like Elite, you run out of fuel, you're screwed.
No, you could call a refuel ship, right? Like the fuel rafts come to get you, but it takes a minute. You lost a minute off the clock.
Yeah,
good luck, because you're racing against time.
Yeah, like your free space support unit. Yeah, something like that. But everyone's different. Everyone's got their different, what they accept and whatnot. I mean, that's one of the things, with this. I wanted to try and keep it short and sweet each mission. No more than between 5 to 10 minutes on average. There's some missions where, you probably end up playing for 15 minutes. But I didn't want it going on much longer than that, because then you're dead and it's like, oh, I've got to replay the mission again. Oh, I've got to listen through this cutscene again. Oh, I've got to trek all through these nav points again. Oh,
yeah, no one likes that, like at all.
So try to keep it short and sweet, and it expanded from 16 to 21 missions by the time I'd fleshed it out. So hopefully good, and at least it's not going to be 47 gigs worth of download.
Oh God, yeah. So friends, and that's a reference to if you haven't played the Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's weird because if you get it on Steam, which is where I got it, when you download the game, you download like a 500 megabyte thing. I don't know what the hell it is, but you download something that's 500 megabytes. It's like, oh, that doesn't seem so big. And then you get into the game and it has you log into your Microsoft account. And then it's like, oh yeah, we have 92 gigs to download. Like, what?
Oh, it does the same. It does the same thing through Game Pass. Like you hit launch, it launches the game. You log into your account, and then it's just like, all right, time to install the game. But you see, here's the thing that's making people go crazy over on Steam. You remember how you said it took 3 hours to download? Well, you have to launch the game in order to download it. And if it takes you 3 hours to download while the game is quote unquote running, you run over your trial period.
The refund. Oh God, that's a good point.
Yeah, and my message to all those people is, if you wanted to try it cheap, drop $5 on Microsoft.
I was going to say $1. You can probably get it for $1 for a month.
Yeah, do Game Pass if you want to try
check it out. Decide if it runs on your machine or not, and then if you want it in Steam. The thing that I did notice though is you install that 500 meg joke, and then it downloads like the other 100 gigs, right? But it asks you, where do you want to put that?
Yeah.
So it's actually out in a publicly accessible file.
And the great thing about that is when you uninstall the game from Steam, it doesn't remove that 90-some gigs you downloaded. It just removes the 500 meg thing.
What?
Yeah. So I had to go and find that folder and manually delete it once I uninstalled it.
When
I had to.
Microsoft, you
What is
own
happening?
Windows. Do you not understand how any of this works?
Does Microsoft not know how to Windows? I don't know what's going on. You think Microsoft should know how to Windows?
The reason that they have you pick that external folder to stick it in is because they know Flight Simulator community is all about the skins and the mods and the all the stuff
which you can buy from within the game.
Yes, which I actually did some. But
really?
because if you have the Game Pass, it's $119 for the like full Super Deluxe Turbo Edition that comes with like 10 planes, right? And this is a weird thing. So in their in-game market, if you look at the tiers, right? So there's like the $60 and the $80 and the $120 tier, right? But if you look at the upgrade packages that get you there, it's actually $15 cheaper to get the top tier content than it is to get the middle tier content.
What?
And I was like, wait, what? No, they're going to fix that. So I bought it before they go fix it. But yeah, so, but the thing is, like, so I got Game Pass, right? And that gets me the $60 base game. And then I spent $85 and I've got like the additional 10 airports and 10 planes and stuff. And it's actually pretty decent content because if you look at like how much does a plane cost, there's one plane from Coronado that's in there that's $30, right? So you figure, well, by the time I buy 3 planes, I'm $90 in anyway. So and this is like 10 planes. So okay, you got me. It's fair. But the reason that they do that external folder that all that stuff goes into is because when you install stuff on Microsoft Store, it goes into that like super locked down folder that Hunter and I had to like crowbar open the other week to get MechWarrior 5 running. Trying to insert mods into that, right? And can you imagine the shitstorm if it was like that trying to get mods into Flight Simulator, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's something I'll say to that. I think it's actually marvelous. Even though this is kind of a cluster in this sense right here, just with the whole the whole launch, it's a really anticipated game for them because they haven't put out a flight sim game in a decade.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of people have been wanting something new, and this thing is looking spectacular. So what I'm trying to get at is Microsoft, specifically their gaming division, seems to be going like out of their way to continue to improve relations with gamers at all expenses, right? Like, hands down, Game Pass is probably one of the best deals in gaming you could probably get. Like, if you love to play games,
it's
even
amazing.
if you don't have like a lot of time, like think about your gaming budget like on an annual basis, right? If you can't buy a new game every month, that's just ridiculous. Like that's really expensive. I mean, some people do, but when you break it down, like $5 to $15 a month for Game Pass, whatever it is, that's a no-brainer, and you get access to Microsoft's entire catalog of like first-party titles, right? And then they loop into that like all of their friends that they do deals with, and you can get cycle through games. But on top of that, the whole modding community thing is like, I think Microsoft is starting to figure out that people love to have fun with games, and they love to mod games and like do cool things with them. And so with MechWarrior 5, when they put it out there was no way to mod it until they finally figured it out. And even with Gemini, we were fighting the system trying to get this one particular mod to work, which needed to be in the root folder. But we were able to figure out how to not put it in the root folder and still make it work. I mean, it took a little bit of effort, but like...
Yeah, we basically had to repackage the mod, and I had to sit and write a JSON file for it. And
jeez.
It was ugly, but we got it.
But the thing is, though, is Microsoft gives you a place now to put all of those mods for that game. You just have to, like, if any mod developer out there, they just have to rework it to work in the mod store for Microsoft. So
yeah. So the nice thing about the way Flight Simulator does it is you pick where you want it.
Right.
So you can put it wherever. And that damn MechWarrior thing is like, in C users, username, app data, local, whatever. You're like 10 folders deep into a hidden folder trying to.
That's what I'm getting at, though. It's like the evolution of them, I think, realizing. I'm hoping that more games as they come out down the line, Microsoft is going to realize that, hey, people really want to be able to play games and like have fun with their games. This isn't like an Xbox where you just like, you hit install and it just puts it on the hard drive of the Xbox and you're off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, I think they viewed it as
different.
I feel like
more effort in though, haven't they, to actually lock that folder down and stop you from modifying that.
I don't understand how,
folder.
I don't understand how they can get away with that, to be honest with you.
Well, they own the operating system, right?
Yeah.
And they just look at this that was their thing to developers is like, look at our DRM. There's no way anybody can steal our game. Look how hard it is. Like you could pay for whatever, Denuvo or whatever the thing's called. You can pay those guys a giant licensing fee to keep your game from getting ripped off, or you can sell it on our store where we bury it in this folder that's freaking impossible to open. You can't even go in and look at the stuff, let alone hack at it, right? So I think that was meant to appeal to developers, but it really turned the community off to the point where, like, if I see it on the Microsoft store and I see it anywhere else, I'll buy it anywhere else because of that. But maybe they're getting it.
That'd be nice if they were getting it. So yeah, folks, that was just a little side note because this game came out today, and there are people who can't even play it yet because it's taken a million years to download.
So, Centurion, have you thought about putting your game on Game Pass?
If they offer me to do it and give me lots of money, of course. That's how it works, isn't it?
That's the catch. There it is.
Well, I want to know. I'm sure somebody has spilled the beans by now. I just haven't seen it, but I want to know what is the method of payment that developers get when they put their game on Game Pass? Do they get paid based on how many people actually installed it, or do they get paid just like, hey, you're here, you get a flat fee? We take the profits of Game Pass and divvy it up amongst everybody based on some tier system of like how AAA your game is.
I have a feeling since games go in and out like Netflix, I'm betting it's a lump sum for a certain amount of time, because like they're about to lose Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, and a bunch of other games. So I bet you it make. What was that?
Come back. It was like with Battlefleet Gothic 2 Armada. That left Game Pass, and then it came back again like a few days later.
Did it?
It's like renewing it. Yeah, it dropped out for leaving it, and then next week when I was looking, it's back again. So yeah, it would make sense that they're just paying lump sums for a period of time to the developers to have it on there, and then when it expires or they renew it or whatever, like Netflix do probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know.
I don't know whether they buy them outright.
I don't know, but yeah, folks, if you haven't gotten Microsoft Game Pass for PC, you should. It's great. It's an amazing value. Anyway, back to this game that we came here to talk about. I haven't floated too much. Like I said, I did a bunch of waves and I did one campaign mission, but the flying feels really good. You did a really good job with that. I mean, I flew with a joystick, which I think is the God's give. I think is the God intended way for all these games we played. God damn it! But anyway,
yeah, exactly.
I played it with my joystick and throttle.
There was a YouTube channel that will remain unnamed, where this guy he's an avid Star Wars fan. He was talking about wanting to do new, because of Squadrons coming out, he wanted to go and play through the X-Wing series for his fans.
Oh no!
And he said that he was having a hard time getting a TIE Fighter to work with a controller, and I about flipped my desk. I about flipped my desk.
No.
I was like, you don't play a TIE fighter with a controller, damn it! Like, what is wrong with you?
You want to
I
know
tried
what's worse?
all these controls to my buttons.
You can play it with a mouse.
I did.
You can play
Seriously.
Elite Dangerous with a pad.
Yeah, I did try TIE Fighter with a gamepad once for a video. It was horrible. Absolutely. I just did a training thing where you're flying through the rings, you know, or the tubes or whatever. And yeah, I could barely even do that with a goddamn gamepad.
You know,
And that is absolutely why whenever they made Rebel Galaxy, they put that like squeeze the trigger to auto chase your target.
Brilliant.
And I love it because it doesn't really take away from the game. It makes it a little more chill, but I'm thinking about my shields and my weapon systems and stuff like that, and picking the right target, not necessarily like wrestling the stick around to chase him.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Look, don't get me wrong. If a game is designed with support in mind for a controller, that's one thing, right? It's weird when you go back to something that's a bit more sim like focused, like. The whole experience about Squadrons, when they announced that it was going to have HOTAS support, I was like, okay, all right, you got me. I'm in. I'm really curious now. Like, let's talk about this, because it was like locked first person, HOTAS support, like true VR support. You guys are speaking to me, like, but in a weird roundabout way. Like you said, Brian, we were testing out some games the other night, and we were playing, what was it, Starlancer?
Yeah, we're playing Starlancer, and you just picked up your controller and went.
Well, I had both my controller and my joysticks plugged in, and I told it to use the joystick, and I was like, well, my joystick's not working. I was like, my mouse and keyboard are like being funky, and I just was like, well, I wonder, and I picked up my controller, and I was flying Starlancer with my controller, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, but it actually worked quite well, didn't it?
Yes, it was weird.
I tried this with an Xbox or controller.
Yeah, I'll have to try it with the controller. I did, but I must say I really liked it with the joystick. You've done a really good job.
I find it very twitchy. I mostly played mouse and keyboard, and I've actually spent a lot of effort improving the flight with the mouse. Because I've now given you like different options and tethering and a dead zone and a recenter and sensitivity, and also borrowed the virtual mouse joystick from Rebel Galaxy Outlaw as well. How that flies.
Nice.
Because I like that. I thought that was nice. So I've got that one there as well. And then, you know, it is, like I say, it's a space combat. You know, I wanted HOTAS support to be in there. That's why I ended up buying Rewired, because Unity's input system is atrocious and their new input system is slightly less atrocious. But
really?
Rewired is an amazing third-party asset they've created, which supports hundreds of different peripherals. The only issue is maybe whether your pedals will work or not. But the interesting thing is I found someone, Brian, who's got the exact same pedals as you, and for some reason they work fine. So it'll be interesting to find out what they've done.
Next time you talk to them, ask them if you're using the CH Manager software or not. Because
he's actually in chat now.
Oh, yeah.
Blue.
So are you using the software or not, Brian?
I am using the CH Manager software for my pedals. Yes.
Okay, are you unifying the pedals with the stick to make like a single device with a bunch of axes on it?
No.
Okay.
Separate devices.
All right, because you can do that too, and sometimes that makes games get weird.
Ribbon Blue is not using the CH management software. Damn. All right.
Where it's going wrong.
All right. I wonder if the CH software has a problem. I was trying to use my full HOTAS with it, and whenever I use my pedals, the game would go absolutely bonkers. And so I wonder if I can uninstall that thing. I should try it. I'm gonna try uninstalling it right now.
If you just don't load a profile, it'll be fine.
No, I don't have any profiles loaded.
Oh, really? Then it shouldn't be affecting it.
It is, though. It is.
That's funky.
It is. It's
I'll
calibrating.
find out, though.
Yeah,
I'll find out either from what Ribbons, he's going to be doing a bit of testing and things, and I've ordered the same pedals, which should hopefully come before the end of the week. So when
I'm
they
kind of
come,
jealous
I can,
of you because
try and find out what's happening.
I'm kind of jealous of you because these pedals are friggin' awesome. Pedals are friggin' great.
Well, I've got the pedals and a flight yoke. Wow! I got it off eBay. So hopefully it all works fine, and it's just cost me about 180 quid.
It probably will. It's just, I will see if I can uninstall the CH stuff and see if I can get the pedals working that way. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the problem. I would not be surprised if that was the problem. So I will try that today or tomorrow. But yeah, we'll get it working. But no, I was just saying, and I'll try the gamepad too, but I was just saying how good it felt with the joystick and the throttle. It felt very fluid. So well done.
Good, because I did spend, again, a lot of time doing that, and I struggled between what did I want? Did I want it more arcade flight or more realistic, like IWAT? And I think I fell in the middle somewhere because the forces used for rotation and acceleration, etc., is massive, unrealistic values that you'd never get off even a. Well, I think just the fact for adjusting your rotation. When you're flying forward, you turn left, ship corrects itself. I think the thrusters are powerful as a jet engine force, if not more. Because I wanted to avoid that slidey feeling.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd be flying like the space shuttle and having combat with a space shuttle in space, and that wouldn't be fun.
No one wants that. No one wants Elite 2 combat. No one ever wants that. The jousting of Elite 2. No one wants that. It's terrible.
What is 2001: A Space Odyssey? What are we doing here?
No, folks, if you've never played Elite 2 Frontier, it's an amazing game. A lot of Elite Dangerous was modeled off that particular game. But the combat in that game is freaking atrocious.
If you do it that way, if you point at them and accelerate and you go too fast, you're going to overshoot and you do that whole rubber band thing. But if you go in controlled and you actually anticipate where they're going to go, and you can actually get it into a dogfight, but it ain't easy. The tendency is to end up in that whole jousting,
the whole joust thing.
Yeah. I always struggled with that because when I did try to do the control burn sort of thing, they just shoot me before I even pass them.
So this comes out on the 1st. Do you know how much you're going to charge for it?
I'm not sure at the minute. I was thinking, and I might as well ask you guys what you think. So I'm looking around between $15 to $20. Probably.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
15.
That's what I was going to say, maybe. Around 15-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
So,
because for
anyone else got? I'm going to say for pickle table.
I think it's pretty reasonable. I mean, you got some good content going on here. The last thing you need to do is overcharge. It's kind of like
exactly.
It's kind of like
undercharge.
Or undercharge. That's a very important thing too. But that's kind of like I keep bringing it up, but Squadrons, man, like coming in at $40 and you get everything, and everything you do is unlocked through gameplay. That is unheard of during these times of AAA game developers. And I think for what you've got, and you're probably not even done. I mean, I'm sure there's opportunities for more content once you're even finished. But like $15 to $20, I think is a pretty reasonable price in my opinion.
I agree.
With Star Wars Squadrons and that price point, I'm very skeptical because generally when they do that, it means they've actually spent a much shorter development time making the game with a much smaller team, and therefore content-wise, I feel it's probably going to be a bit more lacking.
That is a concern
than
for
any
sure.
other because that's what I vaguely remember when stuff like that comes out and it's that price, unless it's like from a small AAA a small indie studio sort of thing. But with EA, you can sort of, predict what the suits have said. Yeah, it's going to be a $40 title, so therefore we'll spend 6 months in development for this. So they started it in January and announced it last month. I just rushed it out. But I hope it sells well. I hope it's well. I hope it'll be a good game. I'd love to pick it up and play it myself. The original X-Wings. I never played too much because I found them, and I still don't play them today because I find them very infuriating with the combat and trying to shoot and lead your shots, because they're just very zippy, those TIE fighters and whatnot.
Yeah. It's a little better when it's a little better when you're in a TIE fighter. It's a little better.
Yeah.
Plus, I think TIE fighter flies a little better than X-wing.
Yeah, and they learned the lesson, like, don't make your missions like a freaking Rubik's cube in TIE fighter. They're a little bit puzzly. You have to figure out, like, I should have been defending that guy. But good God, those X-wing missions.
Oh my God.
No puzzliness in here. No, it's pretty straightforward.
That's good.
The only way you can really lose is if A, you die, or B, you lose a critical objective like a transport you was escorting. That's about it.
That's good.
Pretty much everything else is you, with the exception of one mission, is you kill everything you see.
Well, those are always fun. So, friends, we're going to wrap it up because it is 90 degrees in this room. It is getting damned uncomfortable, so I got to go. But Dan, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk about your game. For what we did of it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
We did have some side tracks a bit, but that's usually what happens anyway. But yeah, folks, the game is Absolute Territory. It comes out on September 1st, 2 weeks from now. And it is quite good. It is really fun to play. It's got both the campaign and a wave-based mode. So there's definitely some good content here, and the combat is really fun and fluid. I really enjoyed it. And if I didn't enjoy it, that'd be a problem. But I've played everything, and this is good stuff. So, yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, folks. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 6 a.m. for, I don't know what, something. I don't know. We'll play something tomorrow. I don't know what. But Thursday, hopefully if Spaz can make it, we'll be playing some Dying Light, if Spaz's internet's working. And next Tuesday on the podcast, we're going to be doing a special time because our guests are overseas once again. We're doing 9 a.m. Pacific next week. We're going to have the folks from Gaia or Gaia? G-A-I-A. Gaia. I don't know how to say that word. Gaia Beyond is going to be next week's show. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But thank you all so much for hanging out. A special thank you, as always, to those of you who support us via Twitch and Patreon. And with that, folks, stay safe. Stay cool if you have a heat wave like I do. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.